Okay, let's grab this next paragraph. We have two more paragraphs, then we have the conclusion. So right now it's about 2.5 pages. See how long it is? Look at this. It's gonna be close to 8, I think. But this 2.5 single spaced. Yeah, and we might even cut out a, you know, maybe it'll be 6. We'll see. But if you double that, it's 5. Then you have a conclusion left. So let's see if there's enough. What day? Look at them carefully. There's a lot there. Okay, you know what? Let's go over this. Canon is bright as gold. If we're making new points that are really fresh and unique, then I think we should include the paragraph. If we're just basically being repetitive, then we won't. So here he literally describes the ammunition as bright as gold. Um, and then the red business, it's very clinical description of the horrors of war. Again, word choice goes back to our thesis. Word choice, bright as gold, go back to our thesis. Unlimbered, yeah, something like a business transaction, yeah, like the red business. I think that's actually really good. We can, and then here the armed race is advancing, like that. It's not only moving forward, advancing, but it's implying that like because they're armed, because they're in war, they're like progressing. Like civilization is progressing. It's very celebratory. It's very there's a little double entendre there. And then just the final, and since we're doing it chronologically, it might behoove us to include the last line or the last couple of lines. So yeah, I think we got to use these three. But I think it works. I think 4 to 7 pages. I think we can keep it below 7, and we might just trim a little here. So okay, so let's go back to right here. So let's we can sort of block off this page, but we don't need much. We just need the silent canyons bright as gold, and then unlimited in the red business. Um, so yeah, let's just do that. Okay, now we need our transition sentence. So, um, mothers and sons and crowds. So let's do not only but also. I don't think we did that before. I think we did it a while ago. Not only but also. Yeah, we did that already. All right, so let's do um, while. We can just keep oscillating back and forth. Some better students probably would have 15 of these. I've got a few. I've got some tricks up my sleeve, but I think oscillating is fine. So while, just a hook I think is important too. So while, um, or you could say in addition to showcasing mothers and sons. So let's change the word from mothers to moms. Moms and their sons. Lovingly sharing a moment. That's the younger. The younger head off to war. And then the frenzied neighbor supporting that decision. In addition to showcasing moms and their sons lovingly sharing a moment, as they either have to war, then the frenzied neighbor supporting that decision. Whitman's poem. So we haven't mentioned the name in a long time. So let's just mention it. Whitman's drum taps first O songs for a prelude. So that's not use showcases. So we could use it just to mix it up a bit. But normally, 90% of the time, you want to vary your word choice, just in general. So also relays a descriptive also relays more for support for the war later on in the poem. Through word choice. Not the greatest sentence on planet Earth, but I think it works. I think it's the hook. In addition to showcasing moms and their sons lovingly sharing a moment as the younger head off to war, and then the frenzied neighbor supporting that decision. Whitman's drum taps first O songs for a prelude also relays more support for the war later on in the poem through word choice. In lines, so let's so let's see what lines. So we're at 58, right? 58 is the line. Favorites. 59. So 59 and 62. So we're not going to offset these. We're just going to drop them in. In line 59 and then line 62. Okay, in line 59, the speaker also released more support for the war later on in the poem. Again, through word choice. Now, while word choice is not necessarily the most sophisticated literary term or literary technique, it still works. I think it still works. So what we can do is and if our points are really strong, then I think the teacher would concede that, you know what, they didn't talk about alliteration that much. They didn't talk about personification. We probably won't even get to personification. Because if we barely mention it, then we might not even mention it as personification. We definitely won't put it in our thesis because we've mostly just been talking about word choice and like just it's basically imagery. So we could change it to imagery, but um, I think word choice is fine. Word choice, line breaks, imagery. Um, I think it's more word choice and line breaks. Okay. In life, the speaker directly connects the actual weapons of war with something actually with with beauty and inherent worth as the silent cannons. You don't need the word silent because it's just we can just say the cannons because it's going to beg the question, right? You always want to answer the question that the reader's going to ask, but also omit information that you're not going to talk about at all. If it doesn't add to it, you just don't want to just drop it on there, like just throw it into the essay, throw these quotes into the essay, and just don't know when you're going to stop, don't know when you're going to omit words. You want to omit words that you're not going to defend. So we're not going to defend the fact that they're silent. We're just going to focus on the fact that these cannons are bright as gold. So we can use the ellipses to show that we're skipping words. As the cannons bright as gold. The speaker directly connects the actual weapons of worth, beauty, and inherent worth. As the cannons, I don't want to say he, she. You could tell. I don't want to say his, he or she uses the metaphor of the cannons. So let's say as the metaphor as the cannons bright as gold. Let's just connect it with the storytelling, right? Are being brought down this Manhattan city streets instead of the Manhattan's city streets. Um, and notably and soon to be unlimbered. It's line 62. Being brought down Manhattan city streets are soon to be unlimited. Unlimbered, line 62. Um, the speaker continues an effusive, which is like gushing positivity. Speaker continues an effusive, I guess this is a little bit trite, but clarion call. I don't know if that works. Let's see if we can. We'll just put that in brackets. We could use a better phrase. Speaker continues an effusive clarion call. Or we could say outpouring. It continues an effusive outpouring. Actually, the speaker through. Okay, now we go back to the thesis, right? Through word. Through metaphor and word choice. The speaker continues to effusively imply support for the war by focusing on by literally making. So then now we're going to restate what we're saying. We're sort of circling the wagons, right? We're going to kind of restate in a different way, a unique way, and then hopefully that that dings as positive with the reader by literally making. So we already said weapons of war. So the cannons, but by literally making the cannons shine brightly. But they already said bright. So the cannons, let's quote that. By literally illuminating the cannons, right? Literally illuminating the cannons. Sort of alliteration. By literally illuminating the cannons. By illuminating the cannons, as opposed to reminding the reader of its function, which is to destroy. Right, so we're showing the counterpoint, but then it goes back to the community collectivist positive. Their functions. Their function. Their function is to destroy. And then now we can use indeed. We don't use it much. I don't want to use it that much, but we can throw it in here. Indeed, the use of unlimited might be considered a double entendre, as this word choice reflects. Well, we'll talk about word choice later. As it can literally mean then we can look it up. So let's look up on Limbird. Here we go. So let's say this exact word, because that's the word that we looked up on limber. It can literally mean detach from its limber so that it can be used, or it can mean unpack or unfasten something ready for use. Let's say can be considered, we could say, is undoubtedly used as a double entendre here. Semicolon, a limber can literally mean detach again from a getting and fasten ready for use. The word choice of unlimbered suggests, again, that the speaker is focusing on to begin the red business. It's a little bit of a stretch when we talk about. So what we'll say is, even though our thesis is the fact that this poem focuses on the community forming aspects, the community supporting aspects of war, this paragraph is going to talk about that even when there's opportunity to look at the negative aspects of war, it's minimized, which again further shines a spotlight on the community, the community emphasizing aspects of war. So it's a little bit of a stretch here, but I think it works, and I think it's different because we're also making, I think we're making a decent point, even though it's not directly like, but I think we can make that leap through our argument. Again, the speaker is minimizing, and we could change the thesis if we have like many points that minimize. Let's actually go back and see if we could minimize, because we've talked about that. While minimizing actually, no, we talk about the atrocities of war. Yeah, I think it works. I think that thesis works. Acknowledges the atrocities of war. We can change this though. Whitman's use of line breaks, personification, and word choice minimizes the atrocities of war. Instead, yeah, let's change this, because I think that a lot of our arguments have been about minimizing. So, and we could pull out that word although. So we could say Whitman's drum taps. And it's direct also. It's just bang. Minimizes the atrocities of war. So his use of line breaks and word choice. His use minimizes. Use of line breaks minimizes. Instead, shows that the speaker, Whitman's use, because it's Whitman's use, Whitman chooses this, shows that the speaker, the poem speaker, minimizes the atrocities of war, instead conveying the I don't want to say his or her again. Instead convey, because there's no gender really for a speaker. I mean, it's just unless you can argue that, unless that's part of the argument, but there's really no gender discussion to be had with regards to this speaker. So it doesn't add to the intrigue or the interest of talking about his or her. There's really no reason to bring that in there. So Whitman's use of line breaks and word choice in drum taps shows that this poem speaker minimizes the atrocities of war. Because the use of line breaks doesn't minimize. It's that it proves, minimizes the, instead conveying the speakers poem speaker minimizes, instead of conveying the poems. It'd be poems of wrong emphasis. I think it works either way. It shows that the poem's speaker minimizes the atrocities of war and can instead conveying the poem's overwhelming. I think it's speaker again. Instead, conveying the speakers shows that the poem's speaker and instead conveys, conveys an overwhelming emphasis. Oh, there it is. All right, so I think that that's good. That's our new thesis. Minimize the atrocities of war and instead conveys an overwhelming emphasis of war as an ability to be particular life actively to fight and work toward a common goal. This first poem is Anthology of Poems. So let's just call it First O Songs, because that's the name of the poem, and then we introduce later that there's the title, there's and then we also mention that here. So it's all about revealing the information. Okay, that was tough to change the thesis, but this is how I write. You know, it's your thesis might change. You know, it might get tweaked a little bit based on the evidence, and so yeah, let's continue in the next video. But I think we're on the right track here.